Hello everyone, this is Shadow Dragon from the DCO community, and I'm shooting today from the restored war-torn city. So we have all the dailies back, and I think that was restored Friday morning. So both in this zone as well as Area 51, we have 3 solo dailies again. And I just wanted to shoot one run through of them, just because I wanted to get it while it was on live and in the state where it was 3, because my previous video just recorded when they changed it to 1. So yeah, now that I'm used to this zone a bit more, it's easier to do it more efficiently. So looking at all the quest givers, so there's a Commander Pierce here who will give you the battlefield mission. So there's always going to be something through this doorway to the battlefield. Then there's the Savage Defector, which he will usually give you something through the doorway near him. And Lady Blackhawk will give you something, I think either in one of the rooms or it'll be something around the perimeter of the area. So as you're doing these 3 missions together, there will be a lot of overlap between Lady Blackhawk's and the Savage Defector. The one in the field is mostly isolated on its own, because there are just a whole bunch of tasks on the field, and none of those missions will overlap because they all come from this guy. So I have Freedom Force, which is free allies. This is a bit tough if you're below 186, and it's the one that's separated in like its own room with a lot of ads. Tick Tick Boom is the tanks that are around the perimeter, and Ally Resupply is the battlefield one where we need to mark locations and carry ammunition to the allies. So I'm going to highlight Tick Tick Boom just because it circles around everything. Oh, something else I should point out though, because when they restored these missions, they weren't restored back to the same state they were at launch. Previously, you would pick up 3 missions and an umbrella mission, which you also had to pick up. And if you completed the 3 missions in whatever order, you would just get the loot for the umbrella mission, which is the Age of Justice loot box, and that includes, if you're legendary, it includes a base item and gear. If you're not legendary, you just, I think you get a soda or something. But actually we'll see that because I'm on my premium account. But yeah, you got that box after completing 3 missions. Now when they restored it, it's a little bit different because there's no more umbrella mission. Basically, the loot for the umbrella mission got moved over to Lady Blackhawk. And this is the same case for Area 51. The mission that Lady Blackhawk gives you is the one that's going to have the loot box. So like if you complete hers first, you're going to see the box drop. And that's important because if you're thinking of resetting these, hers is the best one to reset. And overall, in the entire DLC, it's probably the fastest way to get loot box. So to get like the loot box and the gear. So if you really wanted to gear up, you could just keep spamming that mission and just keep scaling up. Alright, moving along. So when you get out here, there are also a bunch of these poison canisters. There's a feat for destroying a bunch of those. I mean, if you walk around at a natural speed around the circumference of this place, you'll probably get like 10 of these. But I'm not going to force it on my lower tunes. Just going to get that one naturally. No rush.
tear you apart. You will regret that.
Something else to point out also is they fixed the bug here where previously these posters were unclickable. The 6 posters for a feat, they were unclickable by free-to-play and premium. Like only Legendary was able to get the feat, but that has since been fixed. And as you can see, I can interact with it now on my premium account. And just so you can see, there's my cash cap and the escrow. But I don't want to blow that node for someone else. I already have that feat. So I think as I walk through this, I could talk about previous open world missions throughout the tiers, because I think each tier had a set of open world missions. So if we go back to T1, we had the Toyman missions, and I would say that that's probably up there with the most efficient, because you had 3 missions. They were not multi-step. They were roughly all in the same zone, like you didn't have to travel too far to get between each of those. With practice, if you do it perfectly, the whole thing clocks in at 7 minutes. So that set is more efficient than Age of Justice. So I think I'll compare that, since that was the reason why the Age of Justice missions were taken down. Because there were complaints that they were tedious.
I will tear you apart.
And I just didn't get that.
We are stronger.
So if we move along to Tier 2, those were the South Gotham / Sub-Avatar missions. And I'm only going to compare the open world solos, not the bounties. So if we just look at the South Gotham missions, not including the bounty, now those had high counters, but the quest zones for all of them overlap. So you would be doing, like, I think there were 3 total. You'd be doing all 3 of those at once. But with the high counters, I would say that's probably about equal to Age of Justice Open World.
To victory.
Because Age of Justice, it's 3 missions in Area 51 with low counters, and they were not multi-step. And then it's pretty much the same in this area. And I'm pretty sure, especially on like an upper tier tune, you could do those faster. The other thing is I want to compare them at tier. So I'm talking about the South Gotham missions while you're at tier 2. Tier 3 we had Central City. And Central City also pretty much had all the missions in the same zone.
I will tear you apart.
Calculation complete.
Some of them were multi-step, but the thing that made them long was the interaction components to some of the missions. The only fast one was the one with the runners. That one by itself clocks in at 2 minutes, a little bit under 2 minutes if you do it perfectly. The other 2 missions, the Infiltrators and the regular Reapers, those had multiple interaction points. And remember, every time you hit a cog, that takes up like 10 or 15 seconds. So that factors into the time. And then, like, as you're doing those, you're carrying the balls back in slow motion. Just things like that it's going to add up to longer than
My weapon is jammed. I need a new one.
Actually, there were 4 solos in that one, and then 2 group. Because there was they had, like, initially the open world in Gotham and Metropolis that moved back to Central City. Those would take a lot longer than the 3 Central City missions. So Central
I need
City,
supplies over here.
like when you add it all up, does end up being longer and more tedious than this. Okay, what am I doing? Alright, I'm marking locations. And then Tier 4, we had Home Turf. And that was only 2 missions. For Hero side, you had the 1 mission in Ace, and then 1 in Strikers. However, most of those are multi-step. And then there's the distance between the two, because you had to go from city to city. So adding all that up, even though it's only 2 missions, those on average will also take longer than Age of Justice. There were like a few short ones in there, but for the most part, those were like 2 to 3 steps. They also didn't have high counters either. Okay, so where are we here? Tick Tick Boom is done. The resupply is done, so now we just have that tough one. Tier 5, we had Sons of Trigon. 3 zones, 3 missions, and a lot of those are multi-step. And the 3 zones, although they were in like their own open world, they were pretty far away from each other, and you could warp rally in some cases, but in most cases you're going to be traveling between the 3.
Baron von Savage will have our heads. Kill them!
So that does factor in. And also each of those had sort of a mini boss.
We want to know. What is not? Who's there?
So considering that one at tier, like that one at tier 5, compared to Age of Justice at tier 8, those should take longer than Age of Justice.
Incoming!
Now this mission is actually pretty tight. Like as you can see, I aggroed this node by mistake.
Such weakness!
Because of the game's poor targeting. Because I didn't even have my camera turned, and it just hit somebody. Single target move. So in this zone, you want to be careful of your AoE, especially if you are scaled to 186.
We're made if commanders send help. Do they even know we're here?
I hit the more isolated nodes. So let's see, got one at the entrance.
Baron von Savage will have our heads. Kill them! Who's there?
Yeah, EM Pulse hits 2 of them.
I will tear you apart.
Okay, so moving on to Tier 6. Tier 6 is actually similar to 5, where you
We
have
didn't tell them a thing.
you have multi-step missions. Let's get to safety first. Yeah, for Tier 6, it's Gotham Under Siege. Multi-step missions in 3... They're kind of mixed. You get 3 missions from 3 quest givers, and they're spread out across Gotham. But with practice, they do overlap, especially on the hero side. The hero side has more overlaps than the villain side. So once you get those, you're basically getting 3 missions, and let's just assume that they're 3 steps each. Some of them might be more and some might be less. But let's say you get 9 components. You can just kind of sweep your way from, say, north to south, and then just take those 9 components together. but factoring in like the multiple steps, the multiple interactions, and then traveling between zones. Now the tier 6 comes in, on average I can do that faster than tier 5 at tier, but I would say they are both longer than Age of Justice. And then tier 7 is probably one of the ones that beats Age of Justice. The other one being tier 1, but that one kind of has an asterisk because a lot of people hate the Toyman missions, and some people can't do them. But for myself, I'm saying 7 minutes because that's pretty much my average time there. It might be higher if you don't like those missions. But tier 7 comes in pretty close to that. Like that will be 7 to 9, and I'll say this on the hero side, because the hero side, like there's a bigger population, so it triggers more spawns. On the villain side, you'll be stuck in that zone just waiting for things to respawn. But if we say that's 7 to 9 minutes, that will also that'll probably be faster, if not the same time as Age of Justice. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about all of that, just to give an overview of the open worlds we've had. If anyone thinks these are tedious, if you compare it with everything in history, this comes out on the faster side, even though it's 6 in 2 zones. Because most, if not all of them, don't have a boss fight. There's no boss fight, and they're all one step with low counters. So coming here and doing one mission, when they adjusted it for a few days there, it isn't that big a difference of coming to the zone and doing 3. So definitely happy those are back. Okay. I hope you all enjoy the Age of Justice open world, and of course the extra marks. And thanks for watching.